Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today I'm going to be pruning up my Scots Pine, root over rock, and my dwarf cherry tree. It rained from yesterday afternoon all the way through to late this morning. We got a lot of rain. I got this dwarf cherry tree from the garden center this spring. So it is a Romeo dwarf sour cherry, Prunus Carasis Romeo dwarf cherry, full sun, and it's been growing really well. It's gotten quite large, and today I'm just going to prune all the new shoots back and do a little bit of styling on it. Here's a look at the root base. So it's not grafted. There's the roots coming out, and I got it because it's kind of a cool looking root base. It's fairly radial. I think it's something I can work with in the future. All right, here I go, and I'll do a little directional pruning as I'm pruning the tree. All right, now I'm going to look at the tree. Take my name tag away. There, I got it out. Okay, so there's the tree. Now I've got to find a front for it. Oh, I left a branch here. I think this will be the front because I've got a big branch coming out the back. I don't want that coming out the front. Yeah, so this will definitely be the front here. So I've got kind of a cascading branch here, and then I've got another branch up top which is thicker. I don't want two parallel branches here. They're kind of like ladder branches. I like the thicker one up top, so I'm going to remove the bottom one. Like that. So let me show you this up close, these branches here. So here's a close-up of the branch structure. So I want nice flowing branches. You can see there's one here that's kind of 90 degrees to the main trunk line here. So I'm going to get rid of that. It's also right above this other one. And I want to keep this as a better branch than this one up here. So that's going to come off. Like that. There's a stub I can prune off here. There's a stub here I can take off. And one up here. So this kind of branch, I wanted to kind of get something coming over this direction because, you know, if you have a slanting tree, the weight is all on this side of the tree, and you want some branches to counterbalance the tree on this side. So I've got nothing coming out this side. So I do have, there's a bud here, one up here. I'm going to take it back to here, like that. So this branch doesn't flow at all with anything. It just kind of comes straight up. It used to come a better direction, but then it got pruned off and then it's growing straight up. So I'm going to keep part of it. I'm just going to reduce it. And hopefully something will come out this direction and I can prune it back even shorter, but that's something we'll see. This part of the branch is pretty good. It flows nicely. I can reduce this tip here. I've got kind of a vertical branch here that I don't need because I got two nice branches below, so I'll take that right off. And there's a million ways you could style this tree. This is just what I feel like doing today. Shorten this one. Take the tip off this one. Take a leaf off here to get a little more light below. Same with here and here. Okay. So, again, I've got another branch coming up here and kind of crossing the design, so I'm going to take that right out. Like that. And I might even take this tip off because I have two nice branches here, so I will. Like that. So now I've got this one trunk line divides into two here. This one, I don't really like this one, so I'm going to take that one off. Like that. And then this one out the back I'm going to shorten to here. And I think there's a stub I can take off here. I think I'm just going to take this right off. Like that. So I've got a good branch forming here, one out the back, and an apex here. So hopefully, you know, I can get something coming out this side eventually. But I think that'll do. That's my cherry tree. I'll rotate it around so you can get a look at it from all directions. So. Next, I'll prune up my Scots Pine root over rock. I've let it grow this spring and I'm going to reduce it back now, hoping to get a new flush of growth, the second one for this season. Here's a look at the canopy and you can see all the old needles. These are needles from last year and they've just gone all brown and are falling off. And the reason they're falling off is that because I've let it grow, all the branches are thickening up and the needles are, you know, separating. As the branch diameter gets larger, it loosens the needles and they all go yellow and fall off. So I think that'll be my first step, is to clean out all the old needles so it makes it a little easier to make pruning decisions. All right, most of them just come off by my hands. They just they're ready to fall, that's for sure. If your pine is growing slowly, the old needles will probably hang on for 2 or 3 years. But when it's growing rapidly like this, they as I say, they loosen from the branch and they fall off. So this pine is really healthy at the moment, really vigorous, so I'm hoping this operation is successful. I'm hoping the tree is strong enough to put out a second flush of growth. I think that's got it all cleaned out. Before I do any pruning, I've got to talk about the styling of the tree. You know, you've got to have a vision of what do you want. So I want it to be kind of a flat top pine, and I've got the trunk coming up, and then it comes off on an angle, a fairly major branch, and another fairly major branch coming this way, which will be sort of my apex here, and then a wind-blown branch over this side. And all keeping kind of a flat top to the tree. So that's my intent. So I've let it grow really long. The tree's got tons of vigor in it now, I'm hoping. And today I'm going to prune it all back, all these branches back, leaving just a little bit of the new growth, and hoping I get a second flush of growth this summer. Before I start clipping away, I've got to decide, are there any branches that I want to thicken up and maybe grow longer, so that, you know, I would leave a long leader on the branch to thicken it up, or if I want, you know, a long trailing branch, maybe I would leave, you know, the new growth a little longer than normal. So I've kind of got to just look at the tree, study it for a while, and decide what's my plan of action. I know one thing, I'll be doing a lot of pruning on it today, and a lot of fairly major pruning. I'm going to start. There's a major branch coming up here. Right here. And it's starting to get really thick, and I don't think I want it that thick. So I think I want to maybe cut it right off. And I'm thinking maybe even a severe pruning here. Let me take you underneath the canopy and I'll show you what I'm thinking. So we're looking up at that area. So you can see this branch starts off here and it comes over this way. I've got a few new shoots here, which are kind of nice. And then I've got another line here. So I was thinking maybe taking that right off and developing these new smaller shoots here. It's a big step, but it would get that area more compact, and that's what I want. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Okay, here I go. All right, so I'll leave a little bit for dieback. Here I go, right here. Big cut coming up. Done. So that's a fairly big branch I just took off, but I'm not done yet. Well, I'll take this vertical part off. Take that candle back. Take that one back. That one back. Now, just taking some old needles out there. Now, I can see a little better now. Take this one back too. There's a dead part here. Take that off. There's one growing on the inside here. I don't want that. Old needle here. Okay. I can see my apex a little better. I like this branch. I'm just, going to reduce it back, hoping to get some back budding from the bottom that I can develop in the future. Yeah, I don't really want to prune it off because it's a nice branch over this side. So I'm hoping, by pruning it back today, I get some back budding, which I probably will. The branch behind it is quite nice too. I do have some fine needles on it. I'll take this branch off, a vertical one, reduce these ones back. Okay, I'm going to reduce this apex down too, like that, and like that. I'm gonna take a vertical shoot off here. Okay, I'll reduce everything back. Reduce it back in this area over here. Cutting it back. Okay, that's kind of got that cleaned up, this area. Now, I've got another kind of branch. This one kind of sweeps out this way, and I got one that's more vertical here. And I also like that one. I think it's a good looking kind of part of the crown here. So I'm just going to reduce it all back. So I'm just cutting between the needles, always leaving on some new needles of the new growth. I'm going to take that one right off. Always trying to get one branch dividing into two where I can. Take the tip off here. This is quite weak growth, so I'll just take the very tip off. Some more old needles here I can prune out. Like that. Take this back. This one back. Like that. I'm going to take this vertical part off here. Like like that. Take this one back. One growing towards the inside I'll take right off. And this one can be reduced back. Like that. I'll just take the tips off these ones, they're a little weak. Those ones I won't even touch actually. I'll keep that branch. I don't know about it. I may not use it in the future, but I'll keep it for now. Looking much more compact in this area. I've also got a vertical one here I can take right off. Like that. Take these ones back. Like that. Now, that brings me to my sweeping branch off to the side. I've got some good back buds here, here, and here on these branches. And they're nice fine branches. So I can see in the future as they develop a little stronger, maybe replacing this branch with the new growth, kind of reducing it back. But for now, all I can do is manage the tips here. So I'll show you what I'll do on these tips. So here's the tip. I've got this first branch here, divides from 1 to 3. So this one grows in towards the other branch, so I'll take the inner one off. Like that, leaving my 2. And then the other part of the branch, I also have a branch going to the inside, but it is more horizontal, so I think I'll remove the one that's growing up instead. And there's also a small one here that's growing upwards. I'll take that off. Like that. Now, it's just a matter of shortening all the others, so I'll shorten them back. Always leaving some new growth. If you take it too far back, you can see there's no needles back here. It'll just die back. So you've got to leave some needles on your branch tips. Otherwise your branch just dies. We don't want that. Okay, so that's pruned up. I'm going to go a little shorter here. It's a vertical growth, very vigorous. Okay, so that's got that branch pruned up for today. Now we're getting towards this big, strong one. There's some growth coming up the inside here. I'll take off. Don't want that. There's a dead branch here. I'll clean that up. Some old needles I can take off. So I don't want this branch sweeping upwards. I want it kind of either cascading or horizontal. There's another one I can take off here. So I'm going to take off all these vertical shoots. That one. There's one here. And there's one here. Like that. And then I'll prune it back. I've also got, both of them divide from 1 to 3 at the tips. So I'm going to choose my best ones. This one's kind of overlapping over top of this other branch, so I'll take that one off. Keep these two. I'll just take them back. And again, hopefully I'm going to get a lot of back budding. A lot of new needles, or a lot of new buds developing that I can then further prune these branches. So here I'll take off this one on the inside, take out some old needles here. Like that, and take the tips back. Like that. That's got that branch in check. Now I'll work away here. I've got a good kind of horizontal branch here. I'll just take the tip off that one. Bit of bar branching going on here. You can see I pruned it here and I've got a branch directly across from each other. I don't like that, so I am going to remove the back one because it's interfering with the other branch behind it. So off it goes. like that. I'll just prune my stub back a bit, like that. I got a vertical shoot here I can take off. Some old needles here I can get out. And I've got a vertical section on this branch, and I don't want this branch to have a leader, or an apex, I mean. I want it to be a flatter branch, so I'm going to take that vertical section right off. So here I go, like that. I'll take these shoots back. I've got a vertical one here I can take off. Bring this one back. Put this one back. Like that. That leaves me with this branch here, which is quite vigorous. So I've got one branch dividing into 1, 2, 3, 4. So I don't want the one on the inside here. I'll take that off. Another one kind of coming towards you, towards the front. I'll take that off. Another one, vertical one here. I've got a more horizontal branch behind it, so we'll take that one off. Like that. Take an old needle out there. So Julien Alaphilippe won the first stage of the Tour de France. Very exciting. So I've got this branch coming up. I've got this one's kind of growing towards the front. And that, if I took that off, it would leave me with 2 branches. So I'll do that, like that. And then I have a branch going out the back. So I will take this inner one off, like that, dividing this one into 2, and take this one back, like that, and the tip off this one. So that has got pretty well every branch pruned except for these little ones. I'll just take the tips off those so they don't keep growing straight. They'll sort of subdivide. There. And I think I pruned every branch tip on the tree now. Now I've got to examine the structure and see, have a look at it and evaluate it and see what I like and what I don't like. I'm standing back now having a look at the tree, studying it for design. I'm very happy with the left-hand side. I think that's looking good. The right-hand side, on pines, if you let them grow, the branches go from horizontal, they start going up. And in fact, this whole trunk line, it used to be a straight tree at one time. It was a straight tree and had one branch at 90 degrees to the trunk right here. I pruned off the top of the tree, so I had an L-shaped tree like this. So the trunk came up, and I had one branch at 90 degrees to the trunk, and that was it. And then over time, I let it grow, and that 90-degree branch started coming up like this. So now you can see it's almost perfectly straight. It's on a very slight angle. And then I developed, the apex. I did another cut, and that's how I developed that trunk line. So the same thing happens in all these pine branches. As they grow, they want to go vertical. And that's just how pines work. So it takes a lot of pruning to keep, I pruned it off today, and I'll get a lot of back budding in here. So I'll get some buds on the bottom, which I can continue to get a more horizontal pad up here, and then eventually prune off the upward growth. That's the plan anyway. I think it'll work. But today I just want to look at the structure. There may be some branches in there that I just don't need. I'm looking at, there's a strong one here that everything kind of flows out nicely on this side. I'll give you a close-up. Yeah, so everything's flowing nicely, except you can see a branch right here that kind of is on that angle. It doesn't flow outwards, and it's very thick, and I've got a lot of branches in that area, and I don't think I need it. So I'm going to take it off. And by taking it off, that'll also mean all this vigor that's coming up to this branch, the more I remove, the more it'll back bud on these inner sections. So I'm going to take that off. Okay, so that's gone. That lightens that up a lot in this area. That's a lot nicer. Now, I'm pretty heavy on the tips here. I'm going to see if I can do anything there. I think I've got that lower branch here, and then I've got another one parallel, or not parallel, but kind of beside it. that's very similar, and I don't think I need that back thick one. So I'm going to take that out, and that'll give a little more space for both this branch back here and the one in the foreground to develop. I'll give you a view looking above so you can understand what I'm saying. So here's that front branch, which has some back budding already. And then here's the one that kind of runs parallel to it, right here and here, these two branches. And this one's quite thick. So I don't think I need that one because I've got all this nice growth back here. I could even take this part off and keep this branch and this back branch, getting rid of this thicker section. So maybe removing that branch and this upper portion here. I think I'll do that. All right, here I go. There's that first more vertical one gone. There's the second one gone. That's a big cut. So you can see, when that strengthens up, I'll get rid of this part of this branch. And I think it's, slowly going to take shape. I'm wondering if I need that branch up here. It's kind of vertical. I think I'll take that off too. Yeah, I think that's better. A little lighter. And I'll probably get a lot of back budding all over this tree. I think the technique's going to work well. The tree has been very vigorous, and it's almost July, so it's got July, August, September to grow. And I think it'll be full of vigor, and it's just going to burst with all kinds of back buds and new shoots. That's what I'm hoping. Let's hope that happens. I finished the top of the tree, so now I'm going to go down and do some weeding. I've got some wild chamomile growing, some other ground cover growing, and I got to clean up the needles. So I'll do that next. Through the jungle. Hello. How are you? You're getting so big. Look how tall you are. Look how tall you are.
I'm just gonna walk around.
Bye bye. Holler your mommy. All right. Let's get this chamomile out first if I can. There, I got it out, roots and all. I think they make tea out of this. Chamomile tea. Okay, that's got that out. Now I've got all this kind of ground cover growing. It's a nice ground cover. I forget what it is, but it always stays flat. It'd be perfect in a bonsai. A larger bonsai if you wanted this kind of look to the ground. It's very hardy and tough. But I'm going to take it out. I prefer the moss. So we had a really good June. It was really warm, warmer than normal. It was dry, but I had lots of rainwater, so I kept my bonsais well watered. But it was tough on, non-bonsai trees in the yard and that. But it's good for the bonsai, and so I had a really good growing season in June. That's why these trees are doing so well. That's why I feel quite confident about cutting it back today. I mean, you never know, but if it works well, like I think it will, I'll get a lot of good back budding, and I can really make the tree compact by the end of the year. I did that on my Austrian pine, and with most trees, you let them grow with vigor, cut them back hard, and then they back bud everywhere. Get all kinds of new choices for branches, and you can get a really nice miniature looking tree. It's really nice seeing my pine prune back, a lot more compact. One of the hardest things I find in bonsai is letting your tree grow before you prune it back, and so it looks a lot better. I'll rotate it around so you can see it from all angles. I'll give you a close-up of the roots also. So here I go. Crossing root back here. I'll have to try and fix that. Yeah, so it's quite nice from the back too. Really cool roots. Interesting. I've had this tree for a long time. It's over 20 years old. It started out just a thin little whip, probably the thickness of this branch here, and it's been developing ever since. So I really like it. It's getting a lot of nice character on the trunk, nice bark, some nice branch movement. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you updated on the progress of all these back buds that I hope to get. And that's all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.